Hi everyone, it's me, Danielle, and I am back on to do a little presentation on direct method out of body. This would also be called WILD, wake induced lucid dreaming is another term for it. There's a lot to go over, and I did already a video last time about going out of body from lucid dreams. This is going to be how to do it awake. Let me get my notes. I'm going to timestamp this because there's a lot of information, and that way you can skip ahead to the parts that you care about the most. The important things that we'll be covering is breathing and brain waves. They are key to getting out of body. One of the important things is to get your brain into theta brainwaves, which is the desired range for out-of-body experiences. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay, so here it shows you these vibrations. This is sound measurements. What you want to get is right here, the theta, the 4 to 8 hertz. I believe in another diagram it says 4 to 7, but somewhere in this range, 4 to 8 hertz. It's REM sleep, deep relaxation, meditation, and creativity are in this range. So many people, they can get into these brain waves by doing meditations. There's many different kinds of meditation. Yoga, Nidra, NSDR, Body Asleep, Mind Awake method is a guided meditation technique that brings practitioners to a state of conscious, deep relaxation between waking and sleeping by lying in corpse pose, savasana, and following verbal cues. It systematically releases physical, mental, and emotional tension, reducing stress and improving sleep quality. The key features of this type of meditation is let's see, it's a guided practice where the instructor leads you through body scans, breath awareness, and visualization. You remain conscious while the body enters a profound state of rest, often theta brainwave state. The goal is to not fall asleep, but to hover in a state of dynamic sleep that allows for deep healing and restoration. Another type of meditation is the Flying Phoenix Qigong. It's a 400-year-old Taoist system of medical Qigong focusing on 8 standing and 24 seated meditations that cultivate, circulate, and harmonize internal energy, which is called Qi. It combines specific low-moving postures with esoteric breathing to produce rapid, tangible, and profound healing, rejuvenation, and meditative states. Another form of meditation is transcendental meditation. It's a form of silent meditation developed by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, famous for being the yogi of the Beatles and Beach Boys and other celebrities. The TM technique involves the silent repetition of a mantra or sound and is practiced for 15 to 20 minutes twice per day. There are many physical benefits to meditation or having a meditation practice. It reduces stress and anxiety, calms the automatic nervous system, lowers blood pressure, reduces risk of heart attack and stroke, and enhances memory, focus, and creativity. Now, many people say that they don't know how to meditate and they can't quiet their brain. So I also found myself in that boat when I first started meditating, and that's when I discovered Binaural Beats. Now, Robert Monroe, who founded the Monroe Institute in 1971, the purpose of the Institute is to advance the global awakening of human consciousness. He developed the Gateway Experience, and it's a consciousness training program using audio, hemisync to be precise, to guide individuals into altered states, aiming to facilitate out-of-body experiences, remote viewing, and deeper self-understanding of synchronizing brainwaves to move beyond physical limitations. He is the one who trained the CIA to remote view back during the Cold War with Russia. Binaural beats are an auditory illusion. So they are created by the brain when listening to two slightly different frequencies simultaneously, one in each ear, while you're wearing a headset or headphones. They are used to influence brainwave activity for potential benefits like stress reduction, improved sleep, and enhanced focus. So how binaural beats work is if a tone of 300 hertz is played in your left ear and a 310 hertz tone is in the right ear, the brain perceives a third pulsating tone of 10 hertz, the difference between the two ears. To reach the theta state, you require a 4 to 8 hertz binaural beat. So that's how it works. Now, Robert Monroe calls this hemisync because it syncs the two halves of your brain to this brainwave. The brain actually vibrates inside the skull while you're listening to hemisync in a measurable movement of around 1 millimeter. In Robert Monroe's book, Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Project, he claims that binaural beats can shave 5 to 7 years of meditation alone. He also states that riding in a car can be mechanically the right vibration that matches the hertz of the theta brainwaves. So even being in a car with your shocks and your springs in your seat and that little tiny movement can be exactly the right frequency that induces that theta brainwave state, which is, I find so interesting because I've heard of more than one person who had an automatic Kundalini awakening, or is it spontaneous? I'm sorry, spontaneous Kundalini awakening while riding in a car. And I myself have experienced many sort of channeling sessions while just driving my car. I found binaural beats to be very helpful at quieting the brain because you are listening to a tone, and some of the Gateway Experience meditations are available on Spotify or YouTube, so you can do a little search and listen for yourself. Oftentimes they are guided meditations, and they still utilize that the two tones in your ears, which you would never hear. If you listened to 4 hertz to 7 or 8 hertz, you would not hear it alone. Just want to state that. It has to be like a tone and a variance in the tones. So also there is an app by the Monroe Institute. It's called Expand by the Monroe Institute. Now I've used this a few times. It was pretty good. I believe, I don't remember if you have to buy the app or not because it was a couple years ago, but there are also in-app purchases, of course. And if you were to buy the Gateway Experience, it would be very expensive. Their series of CDs or downloads are very, very expensive. Breathwork is very important in meditation. It's usually one of the most important things that they always have you concentrate when you're doing yoga or meditation. So the Merkaba is described not just as a static symbol, but as a living, rotating field that, when activated by breath, facilitates ascension and spiritual transformation. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so the Merkaba is an energetic, interlocking tetrahedrons that surround us, as illustrated in this picture here. It's a spinning field of sacred geometry with both tetrahedrons spinning in opposite directions. Referred to as a chariot of fire, it is the vehicle our consciousness travels in, and it connects our consciousness to our physical body with our breath. All forms of meditation, include breath work, whether it's box breathing or prana flow, which is conscious breathing, also known as the 17 breath technique. So direct method out of body involves transitioning directly from a waking state into an out of body experience. There are many authors of books on the topics, like Sylvain Muldoon, Dr. Henrik Eriksson, of course, Robert Monroe, Tom Campbell. The list can go on and on for you if you want to dive into it further. The key components of the direct method, or the WILD, wake-induced lucid dream, is timing. It's best performed early in the morning, after 4 to 6 hours of sleep, or during afternoon naps when you're not going to be as tired. Deep relaxation: lie on your back or sit in a comfortable chair, close your eyes, and enter a state of deep, motionless physical relaxation while keeping your mind awake. Focus on breathing or light meditation. For WILD, stay calm and manage hypnagogia, sounds or visuals, without getting scared as your body is falling asleep. And you can enter a dream already lucid without falling asleep mentally, consciously. For direct method, oftentimes there are vibrations. As you near the sleep boundary, you may experience a vibrational state, a physical sensation indicating the body is asleep but the mind is alert. This can also be done when experiencing sleep paralysis, which is a mind awake, body asleep indication. Neither of these two are necessary for an out-of-body experience, however. There are a couple of separation techniques when you find yourself in these vibrations, sleep paralysis, or just deep relaxation. When sensations peak, use a technique to exit. People often say this. There's a rope method where you visualize grabbing a rope hanging above you and pulling yourself up and out of your body. There's rolling out method where you imagine rolling over as if turning in bed, but without moving your muscles. I've also heard that you could just try standing up if you're in a seated position. And then there's the floating method where you focus on a feeling of weightlessness until you lift above your physical body. I have had the vibrations and such, but I felt like if I tried to stand up, I was seated at the time, that I would have actually stood up and physically stood up. So what I think is that you can also just shift your consciousness, and like I said in my last video, we do have 7 energy bodies, and they are connected to our 7 chakras. So you can send one or more out at any time, and we are doing this all the time, in fact, and we may not be conscious of it, but you can shift your consciousness to one of your energy bodies. That way it will feel more like you're remote viewing, because you're not viewing from your physical body, which would be local viewing. So if you send an energy body out of yourself or away from yourself, and then just shift your consciousness to that energy body, the more you practice, the better your visibility will get. But I would say that don't try too hard. I know initially when I started doing this, I would enter quite a deep state of meditation, but I also find that I can do it while I'm driving, which is not a deep meditation. I think you might be in a light hypnotic state when you're driving, but you also have those vibrations from the car. Also, when I'm drawing, that is about the level of, I think your brainwaves are in that theta state in those times. It doesn't need to be a really, really deep meditation. So, to control shifting your consciousness, you can try sensory focus. like focus on a distant place or person to shift your consciousness there. I know one of the first times I ever tried it, Michael Shaman had me just close my eyes and visualize my front door. Um, and then when you see your front door, then just understand that you have sent an energy body there and you just shifted your consciousness there. And like I said, the visualization gets better the more you do it and the more you practice. Another thing that I do often is a portal technique. So, you can visualize a portal or energy vortex open and allow your consciousness to go through the portal to your desired location. I generally, I use intention to focus on where I want to go. And when I don't actually form the portal, I don't believe I'm forming the portal. I just actually see it open, and then I just sort of lean in. I don't think I physically move my head, but even if I do, the intention is to just sort of fall in. Okay, so that's all I do. And I find it very effective. And I'm not sure if that is how you actually, if that portal that I see when I close my eyes, if that is actually just a portal out of body. Could be, but it does go to where I want it to go. So I did want to mention about the direct method out of body, these ones that are talking about like going to sleep for a few hours and then going back to bed. For me, I find, sleep is precious, and I'm not going to set an alarm clock for 5 or 6 hours later just to do this. And I know there are a lot of people who try so hard and they do this, but there are those times where I can't sleep. Like I did get 5 or 6 hours of sleep when I woke up and had to go to the bathroom. And when I get back into bed, I lay there and I can't fall asleep. Those are ideal times to just relax and stay awake and travel. There are times when you don't feel good and so you can't sleep. I personally cannot sleep if I can't breathe through my sinus. I cannot just mouth breathe and have a dry mouth and fall asleep. So oftentimes on those nights, like I was just sick 2 weeks ago, spent a lot of time traveling, really good time too. And instead of, looking at the clock because you can't sleep, and counting the hours and going, man, if I fall asleep now, I'm only going to get 3 hours before work or whatever, which you're never going to fall asleep with that attitude anyway, because you're getting yourself worked up and anxious. I think those are great times to take advantage of these going out of body awake methods. When it's windy and there's more ozone in the air, or you're in a Vegas casino and they're just pumping you with ozone and you're not going to sleep. What else? If you've had too much caffeine before bed, or your Chardonnay had a little too much sugar and you just are not going to sleep throughout the night. These are really good times to lay in bed, relax, and enjoy the gift of going out of body. And one of my favorite times to go out of body is right when I wake up in the morning. So I wake up naturally and I keep my eyes shut and I just lay there, and I have gone off and flown around with hawks, or, I saw an owl on a branch and it was so cute. Like there's just so much you can do at that time, right? When you wake up, don't even move, just keep your eyes closed and notice these things. Notice if you see a portal, or focus an intention, like you want to go fly with a hawk, like I did. And if you see a hawk, then I'm telling you, you're doing it. You're sending a body out, and don't get scared. It's very natural. You're in your Merkaba. Your physical body is not armor that protects you. It just keeps you from seeing a lot more than you see when you're out of body. I'll tell you that much. And I was going to say, I had a list of drawbacks to doing the out of bodies from lucid. they were that you can't stay out of body that long, or you get snapped back when you get emotional and all that stuff. I find that when I do awake out of body, I don't have the snapbacks. I can stay out of body longer, and my recall, like, there's no reason to not remember what you're up to when you're out of body because you weren't sleeping. You're awake the whole time. So to me, this is the preferred method, but that's mostly because I don't remember my dreams most of the time anyways. So anyways, I hope this helps anyone who is interested in trying to go out of body. There's tons of information, tons of books about it. But I would say that if you try too hard, like I said in the last video, the universe has a way of pushing back. So please, revisit the last video. Also, if you come out of body and you find yourself coming out of body in dimensions or levels that you are, you're not loving, you want to change your level, I go over that in the last video. I'll link it in the video description. But other than that, anyone who has any other tips they want to add into the comments or things that they find useful for going out of body, feel free to leave it there. And of course, if I said anything that sounded inaccurate, correct me. I'm not above mistakes. I'm a human. But other than that, I hope that this helps somebody, and I would love to hear if it does. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye.